He recalled teaching Jonathan starting in the fall of 1978. He remembered Jonathan as a very serious and disciplined student, engaging and inquisitive. He went to one of many large filing cabinets that he had, and he retrieved a large ledger book, flipped to a couple pages, and it was a grade record book. And there was Dr. Reed's name and the grade that he received in the program, a 3.0 on a scale of 4, a B. He had also been invited to attend Jonathan's graduation in 1980, but had to decline to his wife's failing health. He was aware of Jonathan's current situation because he had met previously with Jonathan and his attorney in 1997 as they were trying to piece together and get his records restored. As part of the story, as you know, is all of his educational records, his birth certificate, his social security card, etc. have all been expunged. Basically, Dr. Reed didn't exist. In addressing the expunged academic records of Jonathan, he said, quote, "I just wouldn't have believed it possible unless I had seen it for myself. One of the strangest things I've ever heard of or seen," unquote. I asked him if he believed Jonathan's story, and he said, quote, "If you had seen what I have, there isn't any question that someone went through everything and destroyed all the records. They went to a hell of a lot of trouble to kill Jonathan's educational past." He also gave me the names of others who could corroborate this information, and I acted on that and interviewed them as well. His final statement to me was, quote, "Yes, I do believe that Jonathan, the student that I taught, is in fact stating the truth." Another area of investigation I wanted to do was speak to his family members. I found that his parents had both been deceased and that his closest living relatives are his aunt and uncle on his mother's side. Again, I was invited to their home and spent time with them. We had dinner. I toured their home, and of the little details, it wasn't necessarily what they said to me, but there were pictures on the wall, pictures of Jonathan as he was growing up, pictures of Gary, his friend, pictures of the dog. I mean, these little things couldn't have been staged, or if they were, it was by an Academy Award-winning set director. They corroborated and confirmed that Jonathan attended San Diego State University, receiving a bachelor's degree in education. They also confirmed to me that they both had attended his commencement in 1980 at UCLA when he received his PhD in psychology. They further revealed that in 1983, he elected to work in Seattle at the University of Washington Medical Center. They explained that in October of '96, Jonathan came to them and told them what had happened, that he had lost his position at the hospital, that his home had been ruined, and that the government officials or the national security apparatus had been after him. He also told him about the encounter and the loss of his dog and the loss of his friend Gary. They had explained too that their home had also been broken into during this time, and that strangely enough, nothing was taken. And this is eerily similar to an event I'll tell you about in a little bit. But they also told me that they had seen the video, the pictures, as well as the link artifact when this occurred in 1996. To the analysis team. On April 10th, I was given a list of people who were directly involved with the alien tissue analysis. They were part of the research teams, and that their names at that time were never made public. I interviewed two of these people in May of 2000. They confirmed that they had indeed had items for analysis, that the preliminary testing had begun, and they expected to be able to produce a report in September of 2000. On the 28th of June 2000, Dr. Roger Haggett, a world-renowned pathologist, was shot and killed in his office. On the 28th of August 2000, 2 months to the day, Professor Michael Wessels was also killed in a bizarre hiking accident in the same Cascade Mountain range. I knew who they were. I talked to them, interviewed them before any of this was made public. And then they were dead. And then the evidence was gone as well. There are several other witnesses that I interviewed, several other professors, fellow students, the folks at the photo shop where he had the films developed. I spoke to other co-workers at the University of Washington, people who worked in the cafeteria, people who worked in the gift shop, several of his business associates, his banker, his insurance agent, nurses on staff, some of which Jaime has on videotape. But let me tell you just one little story that, if I didn't hear anything else of this, that sealed it for me that he was in fact Dr. Reed and that he did in fact work there. One night, not too long ago, he and I recently went back to the University of Washington. In the middle of the night, I wanted to see where his office was. I wanted him to take me to the floor where he worked. We did that. It was after 1 o'clock in the morning. We made our way to the 7th floor. We made our way to the psychology department. We walked through the door, and unfortunately, there was a security guard making his rounds. And he said this. He said, "Dr. Reed, you know you're not supposed to be here, and I'll have to escort you out of the facility." If nothing else, out of the blue, that sealed it for me that he was in fact Dr. Reed. That couldn't have been staged. Thank you. During this encounter, one of the other themes that run through this whole case is this dark side activity. The activities of this national security apparatus that seems to be designed to keep us from hearing these type of truths. And it seemed that there's a direct relationship between the amount of evidence an individual has and the extent to which they're willing to go to get it. With this, after Jonathan had presented for the very first time in San Diego, he went back to Canada, walking the streets of Vancouver where he was approached. He was approached by an individual in a jogging suit who shot him in the shoulder. And with that, we do have a video of that, and I'd like to show you that right now. Okay? Obviously, Jonathan said that it was a handgun. He felt that the gun went off accidentally, perhaps in the struggle. It wasn't an assassination attempt, because I don't think they're out to kill him. I think they're out to harass him, to intimidate him, to ridicule him so that nobody believes this story. It would be easy to kill him. If you killed him, who would ever know he existed but us? So I felt that it was important to come ahead and come forward because there would be a measure of safety the more public everybody became. In March of this year, I went on the Art Bell Show and talked about my investigation for the very first time. Up to that point, I had no problems. After that point, the dark side activity found its way towards me as well. I found myself being followed at work by vans. I find them parked in front of my home. In Delaware, where I live, we have blue and gold license plates. The license plates on these vans were white with black lettering that read U.S. government on it. On a recent trip back from Mexico City, the policeman came to my house and he said, "Sir, the neighborhood watch has a video of two gentlemen entering your house on the second-story bathroom window. They were in your house for a half an hour. They came out with nothing. They showed me the video and asked me if I recognized them. I didn't recognize them. What did they take? I can tell you they didn't take anything because none of the evidence is in my home. Don't come there anymore to find it. It's not there."